Tonight on GamePoints episode 374, GTA 6 seems to be close to being announced, hopefully sometime this week if Jason Schreier at Bloomberg is to be believed. The Escapist explodes in a spectacular fashion, Legend of Zelda is getting a live-action movie, and more. But first, I want everyone here to know this is an audience interactive podcast, so if you're watching us live here at Twitch TV/GamePoints, or later at any video hosting platform you prefer, feel free to let us know what you think about the stories we're going to be talking about on hand. And of course, if you like what you see here, you know what it comes to comment, sharing, liking, subscribing, all that good stuff. First topic out the gate. Let's go ahead and get into it. Here via Bloomberg in an article from Jason Schreier, Rockstar plans to announce much anticipated Grand Theft Auto 6, and likely this week, it sounds like. The link to this story and all the stories we're talking about will be provided down in the description below if you want to go take a look at them and read them yourselves. I highly recommend you do so. Let's go ahead and get into this article here from Jason Schreier. Rockstar Games, a division of Take-Two Interactive Software, plans to announce the next highly anticipated Grand Theft Auto game as early as this week, according to people familiar with its plans. The company plans to then publish a trailer for Grand Theft Auto 6 next month to celebrate Rockstar's 25th anniversary, said the people who asked not to be identified because they weren't authorized to speak publicly. A spokesperson for Rockstar didn't immediately respond to a request as the comment was sent after business hours. That's right, this article dropped like 30 minutes before I went live, and it's just now 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So, very breaking news here, subject to change even by the time you see this video going up. The game itself is set in a fictional version of Miami and features two protagonists, a man and a woman, Bloomberg News has reported. I'm skipping all the history of Rockstar, we don't need that. Take-Two is scheduled to report earnings on Wednesday, which makes me think that we will get a trailer, or not a trailer, but some official news on this tomorrow because of that earnings call. It's time for quarterly results. Every quarter, a company has to come out to its stockholders and go, this is the state of the company, this is what we did, this is what we have coming up, this is what we have planned. It's natural that they would have to talk about Grand Theft Auto 6 at this time. So, of course, it's going to get mentioned, meaning that the public is going to be aware of some development with the game, meaning they are going to have to address it very likely tomorrow, in my mind, of course. As far as I am just speculating here, that seems like it would make sense to me, though. They would address it either right before, during, or right after that conference call. Probably right after, given the way that there are trading rules and Security Exchange Commission stuff that you have to pay attention to. So I would keep an eye out for it when the earnings call drops. I don't know if it's going to be at the opening or close of business tomorrow, though, so just keep that in mind. So, yes, finally, Grand Theft Auto 6 might have the curtain peeled back a little bit on it. Now, I know. Grand Theft Auto 6 rumors are a dime a dozen on the internet. There are many a channel that makes an entire living just talking about this goddamn game. I typically ignore most of them. However, Jason Schreier, while I might have a personal animus against him, is rather well connected in the gaming industry. When he reports something, you can usually take it to the bank as gold. That is until he starts getting a little oddly personal and socialistic about it, but that's a whole nother topic on its own. If he is saying that Grand Theft Auto 6's announcement is imminent, I am willing to believe him more or less sight unseen. The guy is connected. He does know what's up, and he does typically vet his sources. So, looking forward to hearing more about this. Now, keep in mind, temper your expectations. It could just be a, hey, we have a trailer coming up in December kind of official announcement. It could be like the announcement to an announcement. We've seen that shit a lot. Like the get hyped for the get hyped moment kind of crap, because God forbid you can't just have a moment. But it is getting close to time to shit or get off the pot with this game. I fully expect it in 2024. I'm glad all this big stuff came out this year. In fact, you could probably, I think it would be wise to consider some of the games might have come out in 2024 in an already crowded year, because they're all trying to avoid or 2023 rather, because they're all trying to avoid when Grand Theft Auto 6 drops in 2024. This could be why 2023 has been such a crowded year. It would have made total sense to push like half of the games that came out this year back to 2024. They didn't, because the industry is bracing for when this game drops. Because when it comes out, anything a month before or after its launch is going to suffer in sales. So get it out now so you don't have to get all of your marketing ready only for Rockstar to suddenly go, oh, we're dropping that same day. That could be very well part of why this was such a stacked year. Take a look at chat here real quick. You bought Grand Theft Auto 5, but it didn't recognize your controller for some reason. Fortunately, I had to ask Steam to refund it, but I really wanted to play it. PC controller, depending on what controllers you use, I got no advice for you there, unfortunately. You believe it was originally a PlayStation game which was ported. I don't know what the version of Grand Theft Auto 5 is on PC. I don't have it on PC, so couldn't tell you. That's not the only news we have out this week. We, of course, have a bunch of other stories coming up. But before I move off of this, I do want to let everyone kind of speculate what this might be coming up. I believe Schreier when he says there could be something as early as this week. I believe when he says we expect a full trailer in December. But what do you think might come up? What do you want to see in Grand Theft Auto? Let me know down below. All right, next big bit of news is going to go to a press release here from Nintendo itself. Development of a live-action film, The Legend of Zelda, to start. That's right, that live-action film that IGN made an April Fool's joke of, 20 years ago now at this point, seems to finally be becoming real. So I'm sure we'll be seeing that IGN clip all over again soon. To the press release itself. Nintendo today announced that it will develop a live-action film of Legend of Zelda. The film will be produced by Shigeru Miyamoto, representative director and fellow of Nintendo, and Avi Arad, chairman of Arad Productions Inc., who has produced many mega-hit films. Avi Arad, he's kind of hit and miss. He's responsible for a lot of the really bad superhero movies. Venom, Morbius, Ghost Rider. But he's also kind of one of the brains behind Across the Spider-Verse, I believe. I think at least he produced it. So kind of a mixed bag, very heavily with all the Sony superhero movies he's kind of associated with. Back to the press release. The film will be produced by Nintendo and Arad Productions Inc. and directed by Wes Ball. I don't know who Wes Ball is. We'll take a look at his credentials here in a second. The film will be co-financed by Nintendo and Sony Pictures Entertainment, an interesting crossover, with more than 50% financed by Nintendo, which probably means they'll also have most control over what goes in there as well. Awesome. The theatrical distribution of the film will be done worldwide by Sony Pictures Entertainment. By producing visual contents of Nintendo IP by itself, Nintendo is creating a new opportunities to have people from around the world access the world of entertainment which Nintendo has built through different means apart from its dedicated game consoles. I hate press releases because they never speak like a human. This shit sounds like it was written by an AI, but it's written by someone worse. Legal. Going on. By getting deeply involved in the movie production with the aim to put smiles on everyone's faces through entertainment, Nintendo will continue its efforts to produce unique entertainment and deliver it to as many people as possible. How many times are you going to say entertainment, guys? Please. Someone, please, read your shit out loud. Let's take a look at Wes Ball here, see what he's best known for. Best known for directing the Maze Runner film trilogy, and he's also directing the upcoming Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Interesting. Has he done anything else? Anything that I actually care about? Nope. Not at all. He's only done the Maze Runner, it looks like, those 3 movies. Interesting. Okay, so that is who is going to be directing your Legend of Zelda movie. Of course, internet went aflame with casting rumors over who may or may not be playing Link, Zelda, Ganon, etc. Whether or not they'll even be in the movie itself. For all we know, it could be some weird isekai where a Brooklyn teenager gets sucked into the Legend of Hyrule, although they did that with Legend of Neil already, so that'd be an interesting stance for them to take. I don't expect to hear anything else about this movie for at least another 6 months or so, and honestly, I don't know if I want a live-action Zelda. I think this would have been great if Illumination did it, the same guys that did the recent Mario movie, which I thought was fantastic. Even the weirdly questionable choice of having Chris Pratt as Mario paid off in the end. I thought he did fantastic in the role. That said, you've already seen jokes of similar ilk going around, people photoshopping in Chris Pratt as Zelda, or I saw a very convincing mock-up of Ryan Gosling at Prince Zelda. as Link. I also saw a very convincing workup of Ryan Gosling as Link as well. And I think I even saw Condoleezza Rice as Zelda. I don't know where that one came from, but I'm pretty sure I saw that was going through the timeline. Oh, you know what? It could have been Kamala Harris too. I was going very quickly through it. I only saw it very quickly and moved on. This could be interesting. The fact that Nintendo has major control over it, I think they're going to be just dictating to Sony what to put in it, because Sony, if they're smart, is going to sit down, shut up, and let Nintendo do whatever they want. Especially since Nintendo's backing more than half of the film. Don't read too much into Sony and Nintendo working together on this. Sony Pictures and PlayStation are very two different beasts entirely. And while they're all under the umbrella of Sony as a corporation, for all intents and purposes, they are kind of separate businesses. So don't read all that much into that. I don't even want to say I'm looking forward to this. I am cautiously optimistic. The Mario movie turned out to be really good. Definitely watched for taste of the old 90s Mario movie with Bob Hoskins and House of Buggin' in it. But we will see. It's the live action part of it, man. I don't know how I feel about that live action part. We'll see. Hopefully it's good. Moving on. This is a bit of internet drama that we're going to get into. The Escapist. The Escapist is an older video game magazine, online site up there with like IGN. Well, I would say IGN, not the big boys like IGN, GameSpot, but more like Destructoid, Polygon, Kotaku. The Escapist was one of those B-tier sites. They had a bit of trouble a few years back and then kind of got rebooted and revived by a few people, led by their editor-in-chief, Nick Calandra. However, it seems that his efforts to revive the site and turn to something more than just a Yahtzee Croshaw zero punctuation machine have fallen upon deaf ears, as he was recently fired from The Escapist yesterday, as of time of this recording. The editor-in-chief put out this following tweet here. Once again, all links provided down below, saying that they declined their severance and will not be signing an NDA. Brass balls. It means what? Well, maybe. It could mean a couple things. The severance could have been a pittance. It could have been just horrendous. The NDA could have been extremely binding, and he said, fuck that. Or it could have been a lot, and he said, you know what? Fuck that. My morals are such that I'm not going to sign a goddamn thing, and I'm going to share all the dirt. Either way, Chad move from this man, who I do disagree on many a thing, but respect were given where respect is earned. He then was followed by a mass exodus of employees of the site, including the entire video team, by the way. It seems like a good chunk of the people who were working at The Escapist are no longer working there, including the one cash cow they had left, Yahtzee Croshaw, Ben Croshaw. That's right, the guy who was made famous for his zero punctuation series. I'm sure you've all seen it. The little Australian man sitting in the hat there who speaks really, really fast. I believe he actually invented the term PC Master Race. I'm not positive on that, but I believe he did. In this article here from Video Game Chronicle. More importantly, let's go ahead and get down here. Where was I at? Oh my god, where it is. More importantly, Ben Yahtzee Croshaw is leaving as well. On Monday, zero punctuation creator Ben Yahtzee Croshaw resigned from The Escapist along with the rest of the outlet's video team. Yeah, I do believe it's 100% of the video team. I think we've confirmed that at this point. The reason for the resignation seems to stem from the Escapist owner's Gamers Group decision of firing long-standing editor-in-chief Nick Calandra. The man, by the way, who hired what seems to be most of the people who were then working at The Escapist and kind of built that team on his own from the ground up. Zero punctuation began in 2007. And since then, Croshaw has released over 800 episodes of the weekly review series. Known for his rapid speech pattern and often harsh reviews, Croshaw has developed a loyal following in the years that followed. Croshaw's videos, which were posted first to The Escapist and then a week later to The Escapist YouTube channel, consistently received hundreds of thousands of views, with his most popular reviews often passing the million view mark. The Escapist began in 2005, and in 2018 was purchased by the Enthusiast Gaming before later being sold to Gamers Group in 2020. Gamers Group, by the way, they're a little bit like, well, Enthusiast Gaming or Ziff Davis or any of these other conglomerates where they gobble up a bunch of smaller sites. They gobbled up Prima Games, Twinfinite, Destructoid, Silicon Era. For some reason, the Escapist just wasn't cutting the numbers, however, for them, and they let go of the UIC, which in turn led to them losing their cash cow. Because at the end of the day, while I have no beef against the Escapist, it's also a site that I haven't visited in many a year, except to occasionally find out what this man here was doing with his Zero Punctuation series. And now that the Golden Goose is gone, I expect the entirety of the Escapist to fold in relatively quick order. Even more tragic, and to show you how badly the gamer group fucked up, Yahtzee doesn't own Zero Punctuation. He walked away from his baby that he made going, 17 years ago? When did Zero Punctuation begin? 2007. So 15, 16 years ago? And he just walked away from it. He does not own the rights to it. He doesn't get to do this yellow background with the stark 2D animations probably ever, because it flies too close to copyright infringement. He has to think of something new. And he walked away from that because of how bad the owners of the Escapist fucked up here. So props to him as well. This is not the last we've seen of all of them, however, because for the most part, all the exiles from the Escapists have quickly formed Second Wind, as you can see here with their Phoenix motif. From the team behind the Escapist, we're excited to announce our next adventure, Second Wind. Nick and Yahtzee will be live tomorrow at 11 a.m. CT to discuss our plans to support, where to support, and when our first content will drop. Their YouTube page is up and running, but nothing is on it at the moment. You have to imagine that they kind of got together, looked at some other people going independent over the past few years. I'm thinking of things like Easy Allies, Kind of Funny, Last Stand Media, etc., and went, hey, let's do this. Best of luck to them. It is, in my opinion, about a year too late, especially right now with the way economics are going. But that said, hopefully they can pull this off, because I do think they're a talented group of people. Take a look at chat here. What was the reason he walked away from the Escapist? Did he not like a review? Was another reason? Oh, no. Nick Calandra was fired from the Escapist, and most of the people left the Escapist in response to Calandra being fired. They did not appreciate how he was treated. They did not appreciate that he was fired for nebulous reasons. I believe Calandra said the reason why he was fired is because he wasn't hitting goals, but those goals were never clearly communicated to him. And he more or less alluded that it might have been just a cleaning of house to reduce payroll. So when that happened, all those people that he hired and cultivated relationships with for many years also walked out with him. They said, fuck this, we're out. And I don't blame them. The Escapist is, at the end of the day, a dying ship, as is most of traditional games media. Your mid-tier of sites, Escapist, Destructoid, Twinfinite, yes, Polygon and Kotaku, they're going to get wiped out. It's only a matter of time. I know that people have been saying this for, it seems like, 10 years now, since 2012. I think it was 2012 when all that nonsense really started up. Maybe it was 2016. Either way, you know what I'm talking about. You know, the idiotic event that I'm referring to. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of these sites are nowhere near as popular as they once were. It's even the behemoth that was IGN, a place that I worked at momentarily, is not even doing anywhere near what it used to. People are following the content creators, not the sites themselves. So it really behooves people who are truly talented to venture out and branch out on their own. They're going to get paid, hopefully more, and not have to deal with any middlemen as well. So best of luck to those at Second Wind. I look forward to seeing what you're going to be doing. And to anyone else who is currently at the Escapist, I would highly consider jumping ship, because I don't think that site is going to be around much longer. It already has a troubled history. It ran to some issues back during the event that shall not be named, because I don't know if YouTube demonetizes anyone mentioning it anymore, but just something to keep in mind. Moving on, as we go on to the next bit of information that dropped today. Today has been a very, very busy day. We go to push square for this one. Next, Mass Effect gets new teaser featuring a masked N7 character. This is a whole lot of nothing. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that right now. All it is 30 seconds of someone walking in an admittedly cool outfit that has an N7 logo on it. Okay, cool. It's N7 Day. It's that made-up holiday, November 7th, that BioWare likes to roll out and give little tidbits of Mass Effect news here and there. And admittedly, there does also seem to be maybe a little bit of reference to Andromeda as well. But for the most part, this is a nothing burger. Furthermore, I wouldn't really expect anything concrete about the next Mass Effect as long as the sword of Damocles that is Dragon Age Dreadwolf maintains hovering over BioWare's head. Because Dreadwolf has had a horrendously troubled development. And I think people at BioWare know that this is sink or swim for them. Because after Andromeda, and after Anthem, and after all the workplace abuse shit and just multiple years nonstop of bad press coming out of BioWare now, whatever goodwill that studio had that was protecting them from EA Scythe just cutting that studio down, that's gone. I think that BioWare is very much on the chopping block, and I think that if Dreadwolf is anything less than spectacular, that studio will cease to exist as an independent entity and be folded into many another group. The name BioWare may stick around because of its legacy, but I think that those at BioWare themselves can see the writing on the wall. If Dreadwolf isn't 100% spectacular, they're in trouble. Which is why this little teaser here is pointless. Because we don't even know if there will, that whatever they're making for Mass Effect 4, it's in like the pre-planning stages. If BioWare goes bye-bye, all that goes out the goddamn window. So whatever you're seeing now, just pretend it doesn't even exist. Because it might not even be related to what we get when after Dreadwolf 1 comes out. Because it's all hands on deck to make Dreadwolf a hit. It has to be. If it's not, BioWare is even dumber than I think they currently are right now. So take that for what it is. That of course doesn't prevent a whole bunch of people from talking about it, freaking out over it. Oh my god, it's the return of Shepard because they have N7 on there. I mean, N7's a basic designation that anyone at that rank can use, but there you are. Plus, I mean, at the end of Mass Effect 3, one of the best quote-unquote endings was Shepard like suddenly taking a breath in, and given from how the character is posing as they walk, it appears to be the Femme Shep model, if it is indeed Shepard. I don't know if it is or not. I wouldn't be surprised if they find a way to bring his ass back, because they tried to make a game without him/her, depending on who you played, and it bombed horrendously. I, for one, just want to see something a couple thousand years from now. You can keep Liara in it. We've already had her confirmed in one of the earlier teasers. But it's time to move away from Shepard and give us something new in that universe that is not fucking Andromeda, please. Big news keeps coming all week, though. Over the weekend, Blizzcon happened, and a whole bunch of small announcements were made, but there were two big ones. First up, here from IGN, the next 3 World of Warcraft expansions were announced, all of them tying together in one singular storyline known as the World Soul Saga. And as you can see from the headline, they're trying to make it like the MCU. I do think that's a little clickbaity. I get no MCU vibes from this at all. I would think of it more as just a trilogy rather than a bunch of standalone movies. You don't need you don't need to search engine optimization every single story that comes out of IGN. Please stop doing that. I get why you do it, though, but stop. To the article itself. Blizzard announced at BlizzCon 2023 that World of Warcraft's next 3 expansions will be part of a larger narrative called the World Soul Saga. Pause for a second. Cool. A lot of these expansions very much feel like they're designed complete and then thrown out there, and then they make their next expansion with like very little to stack on. I know that you had a like the Sylvanas arc that lasted multiple expansions, but she was always kind of in the background until Shadowlands. I don't even want to say background, but you know what I mean. It was never really the main focus of any. I'm not even saying that right. It still felt a little disconnected from expansion to expansion. It was like they kept like teasing things, and then finally it all came out in one expansion. If you actually give us a trilogy of connected stories that lead up to a grand climax, that actually might be a little shot of an arm of World of Warcraft needs. I love World of Warcraft, by the way, but I haven't played it for like many a year because I just don't have time with it. But I've always enjoyed it in stages. It was never something that I get like was, oh my god, I'm going to play this forever and this is going to be my life. World of Warcraft for me was a game that I would play for 3 or 4 months once an expansion was coming to an end, so I can kind of catch up to all the story, see what happens, see all the new stuff, and then maybe a week or two as a new expansion begins, because they all always do some kind of events. So I'm not a massive expert at it, but it is a game that I do enjoy. Back to the article as we come back from that diatribe. Why 3? Was a combination of the game's big upcoming 20th anniversary and big idea from Warcraft executive creator Chris Metzen, who also recently rejoined the company. By the way, they did tease the intro trailer to the War Within. Blizzard is still amazing at CG. Regardless of where they stand now in your personal opinion, I get that they fucked up a lot over the past few years. It's right to criticize them for how they've handled many a thing. But their CG movies, when they actually like sell it, god damn are they so good sometimes. So we have 3 expansions coming out. If you want to go take a look at what Chris Metzen himself is saying, you can definitely cut to there. But what we know right now is that the 3 expansions are The War Within, which is going to be sometime next year. And then we have Midnight and The Last Titan being released at later dates. The War Within is going to feature that sword that's still stuck in Silithus that Sargeras drove into the earth at the end of Legion, or Azeroth rather, at the end of Legion. And it's going to feature a bunch of underground zones as well. Meanwhile, Midnight will be going back to Quel'Thalas, which was the Blood Elf starting zone. And it's going to be fending off a Void invasion. This is something that absolutely needs to happen, by the way. A revamp of Quel'Thalas is long overdue. And The Last Titan is going to be going back up to Northrend. Now, I would love to see The Last Titan kind of be the end of World of Warcraft as we know it, especially if it ends in Northrend. I cannot think of a better zone to wrap the entire game up in. However, it has already been stated, I believe, I need to go through my notes here again, that this is not the end of World of Warcraft, but simply the beginning of a new chapter to it. So they're going to keep making new Warcraft stuff for years and years and years afterwards. So don't expect this to be some grand finale or anything like that. But I do think setting it in Northrend has certain connotations. There's a lot of Titan ruins there. That is, of course, where Arthur's ascended to become the Lich King. And I think it's just a cool zone engine. So I might actually take a look at that. When that finally drops, you have to assume 2024 for the next expansion, 2025 for Midnight, 2026 for The Last Titan. Jesus Christ, how old would Warcraft have been along right then? 25 years? It's an old game. So yeah, people who are excited for World of Warcraft, it sounds like they might try to be uniting their storylines for the next 2 expansions, which is great. We've seen what happens when you just make storylines willy-nilly. The most recent Star Wars trilogy is my key example, and I point at that. You can tell those 3 movies are completely written in a vacuum from one another. The first one was written, and then the second was written after the first movie came out, and then the third movie was written after the second movie came out. There was no coherent line through any of that. That's what happens when you have a disjointed connection. However, when you take the time to layer things on top of each other, then you can actually have a story worth telling. That's not the only thing of note that was announced at BlizzCon. We're not going to get to anything Overwatch or anything like that, but I do want to mention here via Games Radar, Diablo 4's first expansion, packing a new class and fan-favorite Diablo 2 location, arrives late next year. The expansion called Vessel of Hatred is taking you back to, they say Nahantu, but I swear it was Cursed or something like that. Essentially, Remember in Diablo 2, when you went to the jungle area with the tabernacle in it and you fought Mephisto? You're going back to that jungle there. Awesome. There's also going to be a brand new class never before seen of the Diablo universe, so don't expect the Witch Doctor coming back. Expect something new. And that's not to say the Witch Doctor won't come back, but there will be a new class that has no analog to any of the free previous games out there. And while the Blizzard has yet to confirm what that class is going to be, the expansion will continue the dark tale that began in Diablo as we learn the fate of the primeval Mephisto and his demonic plans for Sanctuary. Cool. Awesome. I get that Diablo 4 has some issues. That first season was kind of rough. The current one is not half bad, however. What was the first? The first one was Malignant, I believe. That kind of sucked. Season of Blood's alright. I have hopes for Diablo 4. I enjoyed it when it first came out. I did kind of grow tired of it, as I do with most ARPGs. But I'm thinking of hopping back in soon. I remember when Diablo 3 first dropped, and that game was horrendous, and they actually turned it into something really fun by the end. Albeit 6 or 7 years later. Hopefully Diablo 4 gets there before that point. Moving on to some smaller stories. For those of you who watched one of the PlayStation Showcase not that long ago and were excited for Revenant Hill, well, I hate to tell you, but it's been canceled. This here is an announcement from the Glory Society, which is the developer, or was the developer of that game. Friends, followers, and fans. Making anything complex poses challenges along the way. Games take a while to make and usually require a good team working together. We've been lucky to have one such good team. Unfortunately, recent serious health issues have necessitated 2 key members stepping away from the project indefinitely. We are a small team, and we each wear multiple hats. This is a loss of several hard-to-replace hats in an environment where hats are all needed. Given realities of schedules, budgets, and the fraught task of reworking the whole project within these parameters, the team has amicably decided to suspend operations. For all intents and purposes, this is the end of development of Revenant Hill. This is yet another gaming cooperative. They make sure to say cooperative over and over again that has gone kaboom. ZAM, the people that made Disco Elysium, also had many of their heads get whacked as well. It seems like the cooperative doesn't really work out too well, but that could also just be my bias showing. I do go by Capitalist Pig online for a reason. That said, any development on this game or any future games from the Glory, oh goddamn, who are these people? The Glory Society, seem to be on permanent hold as the team has for the most part disbanded. Now, many of these team members were once part of the dev team that made A Night in the Woods, a game that is beloved on the indie scene, although has its own baggage in it with the, there's certain words I can't say on YouTube, but incidents happening with one of the developers of that game as well that ended very poorly for him, let's just say. So this is a team that does have a little bit of a troubled history, and we'll just leave it at that. As far as Revenant Hill goes, it I don't know if I had any interest in it, but it did generate a lot of buzz when it was at Sony's showcase a few months back. But it looks like we will never see what this game is going to be. It now joins the hall of games that are long forgotten, like what was the Campo Santos game, The Valley of the Gods, and many of the other ones out there, Fez 2, etc. So, best of luck to those who are affected, however. Personal animus aside, I believe that one of the developers is horrendously sick with something, details not announced, and another one of the devs is his wife. So, of course, he'll be taking time to take care of him. Best of luck to them. Hope they can recover. And maybe one day, the Glory Society will get back and finish whatever the hell Revenant Hill was going to be. Moving on, I've got 3 very, very quick stories, and they are exactly what you think they are, because I can't go a week without talking about them. Layoffs. First up from Insider Gaming, 40% of the staff face layoffs at Motorsport Games amid company turmoil. Motorsport Games has been having issues over the past year or so, and it is essentially the studio was dead. Moving to the article. After I unprofessionally drink some tea. Over 40% of Motorsport Game staff has been laid off this morning amid company turmoil. According to the insider gaming sources, 30 of the staff were laid off earlier today, which has been described by the staff as, quote, the true beginning of the end for the studio. According to LinkedIn, Motorsport Games had just shy of 100 employees before the layoffs and seen significant reduction in staff since 2021. It was said the staff were called in one by one to a quick 10 to 15 minute calls headed by HR to be told they were being laid off of the company. Staff were given 10 minutes to say goodbye to coworkers and teams before being logged out of their accounts. It's understood that staff will not be given any redundancy payment. Another set of layoffs coming here from GameDeveloper.com. Embracer makes layoffs at Neverwinter developer Cryptic. Embracer Group has made layoffs at Neverwinter developer Cryptic Studios. Several current and former Cryptic employees have confirmed there has been a reduction in force at the studio, although it's unclear how many people have been let go. LinkedIn posts shared by staffers indicate that many Taylor members of the Cryptic team has been impacted by cuts. However, many within the senior community with senior community manager and writer Make Fatum explaining that many of the best people I know were let go from Cryptic Studios today. In a separate LinkedIn update, Cryptic lead environmental officer Scott Boyd said a lot of amazing people have been laid off. I'm sure we'll get details on exactly who was let go then. This, of course, is on the heels of Embracer having to cut across the entire company after that failed deal with the Saudi Royal Investment Group fell through to the tune of like just over $2 billion. And then suddenly now they have to make that money up. So mass layoffs are going to be coming, and they're not stopping, especially from Embracer. And then finally, Video Game Chronicle here reporting that Ubisoft is laying off 124 employees. On Tuesday, at time of this recording, the French company said it was cutting 124 positions, mainly based in Canada. Over the past few months, every team within Ubisoft has been exploring ways to streamline operations and enhance our collective efficiency so that we are all better positioned for success over the long term, Ubisoft said in a statement issued to VGC. In this context, today we announced that we are reorganizing our Canadian studio's general administrative functions and reducing headcount and hybrid, our VFX studio in Montreal, and our global IT team, which impacts 124 positions overall. Kotaku had earlier reported the company is making layoffs at the Assassin's Creed and Far Cry studio Ubisoft Montreal, which is its largest in-house development team with some 4,000 employees as of 2021. These are not decisions taken lightly, and we're providing comprehensive support for our colleagues who will be leaving Ubisoft during this transition, the Ubisoft statement continued. We also want to share our utmost gratitude and respect for many contributions to the company. Restructuring does not affect our production teams. God damn. I know I say it every week, but please, regardless of what industry you're in, it's hitting the video game industry really bad, but it's going to be hitting everyone. Be prepared for this shit. Save up what money you can. Get your resumes in order, because it is going to get worse. I'm telling you, this is only the beginning of this shit. Let's take a quick look at chat before we wrap things up here. Damn, it seems lockdowns damaged the game industry big time. Lots of other types of businesses closed. Now the refugees of games being hit. So there's a reason for that. When lockdowns happened, people stayed home, so people playing games shot up. So they made a lot of revenue during lockdowns. Now, with the economy slowing down and the lockdowns over and people going back outside, that revenue has dropped off sharply. Which means that regardless if you're making a lot of money or not, if it's negative growth, that leads to layoffs. Without getting too fine of a point on it, I don't want to get into the granular nitty gritty about economics and how businesses operate or anything like that. But that's the long and short of it. They're not making as much money this year as they were back last year, and it didn't help that the last few years were records for them because the pandemic really boosted their sales numbers. Now they're paying for it. Now it's time for them to feel the pressure everyone else is feeling. It certainly doesn't help that this is also a really bad economic year, and like I said, is only going to get worse. So a lot of companies are doing preemptive layoffs, seeing the writing on the wall. Going back to chat here. Guys, do you know that a Saudi investor bought lots of in-game currency in EVE Online and also made some space sim which is not made yet? Oh, hold on, let me try again. You guys know a Saudi investor bought lots of in-game currency in EVE Online and also some space sim which is not made yet. I think I heard about a lot of EVE Online currency, which named ISK, I think it's called, getting gobbled up by someone in Saudi Arabia. I'm not positive on that. As far as the second half of that statement, a Saudi investor invested in some space sim not yet made yet. They gotta be talking about Star Citizen, right? I don't know. I have to look into it. Don't know much about that one. All right. With those, I do believe that wraps up GamePoints 374. Thank you all for showing up. This show does stream live here at Twitch TV/GamePoints every Tuesday around 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But come on by and be part of the conversation. If you can't join us live, I understand. You can catch us at a myriad of video hosting platforms, be they Rumble, BitChute, YouTube, etc. You can follow me on X at CapitalistPig21. You can join our Discord server, link provided down there below if you want to be part of the greater GamePoints community. And that's also where all the stories I talked about today are posted online as well. I do stream throughout the week as well, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays typically. So come on by, say hi, watch what I'm playing, and we'll chat about whatever. That wraps things up here. Thank you all for showing up. If you like what you saw here, like, follow, share, subscribe, bits, whatever platform you're watching it on, you know what to do. You've all been on the internet long enough. And until next Tuesday, I'm out of here.